All right, so we are at finding an equation of a line with a slope, but not the y-intercept. We are using a slope and a given point. So this is going to relate to your homework lesson 4.9. Sorry. So they still want the answer in slope-intercept form, so they want it to be y equals mx plus b. And if you're given a point that has the y-intercept, then you know it's the y-intercept if your x value is 0 and you just have some number there. So that is okay. We can replace this number where b goes. However, if you don't have a point that is 0 for x, something else, then you can't just slap whatever is in y for b and call it a day. You have to do some mathing around. So they ask you to write an equation and they give you a slope. They'll say, let's say m equals 1. And the equation of the line's going through this point. Okay, so we have to do some magic and make our equation. So in our slope-intercept form, we have these values. If you are doing this homework and when you click on it, you know, whether you get it right or wrong, they show you how they do it. Their explanation uses a type of form called the point slope form, and it's very usable. We're actually going to use it in the next video. But right now we can just stick with this and keep it simple. Okay. So we're given a value for m, and we have a given value for our x and a given value for a y, and all that's left is finding out what this b is. So let me put that there. Okay, so we know we can substitute this value in for m. We have 7 as our x. We can put that in for x. We have a value for y, so we're going to substitute this y in. This is getting a little crazy, sorry. And then when we do that, we're left to solve for b. All right, so I'm just going to write it here again, make it a little bit nicer. So I'm going to put in 1 for m. My x value is 7. So remember, this is it's stuck together, so that means multiplying. So this is going to be 1 times 7. We don't know what b is. That's our goal to find out. And we know that 5, we can replace y with 5. And now we are going to solve for b. So 1 times 7 is 7. I have 7 plus b. So I need to get b by itself. In order to do that, I need to make this 7 go away. So I'm going to subtract it, and now I'm left with 5 minus 7, which is negative 2. Okay. This is not the final answer. We did this work in order to know what to replace this value for. We already know what to replace this value for. We were going to replace it with that 1. But we did this work in order to know what to replace b with. So the form is y equals mx plus b. But they tell you what m is. 1. Now we keep the x just like we keep the y. And we did that work to know what to replace b with. We're going to replace b with minus 2. And that would be your answer. All right, let's do another one. We want it in this form. And if they give us a slope of negative 1/4, and give us a point of -8, -2. Okay, so since this is not 0, this is not the y-intercept, so we have to substitute in and solve for b. So we're going to replace this m with -1/4, and we can replace this x with -8. And we're going to replace this y with -2. And now we're left to solve for b. Hopefully that looks like a b and not a 6. All right, again, don't be afraid. Nothing to be afraid of here. What's a negative times a negative? Right, it's a positive. How do we multiply fractions? Right, top with top, bottom times bottom. Negative times a negative is a positive. Nothing under that 8, so if you want to, you can throw a 1 under there to give it something to multiply that 4 with. Now, what is 8 divided by 4? Yeah, 2. Okay, that wasn't so hard. So here, again, we have to solve for b. So, you know, be careful because these are very similar. So sometimes we look at that and think, oh, it's going to be 0. But in order to get b by itself, we're going to have to subtract 2. Subtract 2. You're down 2. You lose 2 more. So you're down 4. Okay. Again, not the final answer. The final answer means we're going to replace our given slope right here. And we did that work to know what to replace b with. So we're going to take y equals, and what was our slope? Our slope was -1/4 x, and then you could put plus -4, or just put -4, I think. I don't know. And that is your equation for the line. All right, let's do one more just for fun. In this case, we have a slope of -2 and a given point of -8, 18. So again, this is our x, this is our y. We have a value to put in for m, so we're going to substitute that in. We have a value to put in for x. We're going to substitute that in. We have a value for y. And we're trying to solve for b. Negative times a negative is a positive. And then again, to solve for b, we're going to subtract 16. 18 minus 16 gives us a positive 2. So now we know what to substitute in for our y-intercept. So our given slope was a -2. Slap that x on there. Our y-intercept is a positive 2. And so we have +2. Not too bad, right? Yeah.